Welcome back. We're going to move into indexing. In the last portion, we talked about string and how to actually create a string objects. In this lesson, we're going to cover indexing. All right. So one point here that I highlighted is that Python uses zero-based indexing. What does that actually mean? It means that Python start counting from zero. Okay. So 0, 1, 2 means there are three separate entity here. So keep that in mind. Now let's start with assigning a value called Arduino project book onto this variable called sentence. Okay, so that's what that is. So what we are trying to do here, this is called indexing, is that sentence bracket 0. We're trying to actually find out what the character in position 0 is. And as suspected, is A. So this is what it means by indexing. You are actually trying to find out, all right, or index what the actual so-called individual character is for a string. So what about number 4? Okay, so this is the catch here. This is actually character number 5. So let's just start with 1. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is actually I. And as we suspected, it comes out with an I. What about minus 1? Minus 1 actually refers to the last character. So in this case is K. What if it's actually minus 4? Okay, let's run this. And it's actually B. So it's minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4. So that's really how indexing actually works. So I'm going to introduce to you another concept called slicing, which is very, very similar to indexing, but there's a slight variation here. So let's have a look at the sentence, okay, from what we created before. Okay, still Arduino project book. So earlier when we're doing indexing, we're indexing 1, okay, only once or single digits, so we actually get A. So what about if it's 0 to 3? This is an operation that is called slicing. So with this, what you get is actually 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so start from 0, stop just before 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's why you get ARD. So that's really what this is. What about 8 to 15? Okay, so let's just try this ourselves before we do this. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that will be P. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So if we are correct in our counting, we should actually get the word project. And voila. Okay, it turns out as that. What happens if it's minus 4 and then dot dot with nothing? What do you think that is? Okay, let's try it out. It turns out that it's 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4 onwards. So that means all the way from minus 4 all the way to the end. So that's why you get book there. What if we actually give 14 to 24? What do we get? We get T and we stop at K. Wait a second. Earlier when we actually counted 15, which is here, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, hey, 20 is already beyond the length of the actual sentence itself. Notice that Python has handled this masterfully. Doesn't show any errors because it actually picks up, handle this gracefully for you. But unfortunately, it won't handle this gracefully if you're actually trying to index out of the range, and that's why you get this error. So from now on, if you see index error and it's followed by string index out of range, then you know that you're actually trying to index outside of the length of the actual sentence itself. Okay, but in the case, just be mindful of this, is if you have a double quote like this, it doesn't actually display any error message. So this is one thing, just be mindful of and be careful when you're working with this. Now, before we move away from strings, there's just one characteristic of strings that I do want to highlight. Strings are actually immutable. Now, what is immutable? It's a really fancy word that means you cannot change the value. Okay, so remember, sentence here is Arduino project book. And what if we try to insert a M, replace 0 with M? you will actually get this error, type error. str, which stands for string, object does not support item assignment. That's another fancy word for saying, hey, you cannot change me. I'm a string, do not try to change me. Okay, but you can, however, add an M to the actual sentence itself. And you get, instead of Arduino, you get Maduino. What happened to the A? Now, the reason that the A is no longer there is because we started off from 1. Remember, Python start counting from 0. If we actually start the slicing starting from 1, A is automatically not included in this. Hence, you get Maduino, or I don't know how you pronounce that, instead of Arduino. Finally, there's just one function or method that I want to show you. It's called len. You probably guessed it. It's to tell you the length of the actual sentence itself, which is 20 in this case. Okay, so that means there's actually 20 characters in this Arduino project book. Okay, that's how long that is. This is very useful, especially when you're trying to figure out how long is the sentence that you're actually trying to work with. Right, we're going to stop here. That really concludes everything to do with strings. When we come back, we're going to cover another topic called list.